morning, Faith Community. We're on day 2 of our series looking at the common greeting, grace and peace. Today we're going to talk about grace, and grace is something that is extremely difficult for us to wrap our heads around, to fully understand it, to put it in a simple phrase, because that's what grace is. But it's one of the things that I find is fascinating as a believer is that as I am growing in my relationship with Christ, I find myself more and more and more in awe of God's grace. And I believe that we will spend the rest of eternity, the rest of the billions and billions of years into our future in heaven, just continually in awe of God's grace and an absolute wonder of what he has done for us. And so Paul and others in the New Testament, and we as believers even today, when we greet each other with grace and peace, with the phrase grace and peace to you, what we're doing is reminding each other of the grace that God has given us, the importance of grace. In fact, if it weren't for grace, there would be none of this. There would be no universe, no creation, no beautiful stars for us to look at, no amazing trees for us to be amazed at. And grace is what gives us the breath in our lungs, and God, by his grace, just giving us life and the ability to live and be created in his image and experience the wonderful things that we get to experience. That's all because of grace. But the grace that I want to talk about today is the unmerited favor that God has towards us as sinners. His unbelievable, his eternal kindness toward we who are most undeserving, those of us that put our faith in Christ, the grace that we receive, this gift that we've been given. And that's what grace is. Grace is a gift. It's something that is unmerited, it's undeserved, it's something that's given to us. It's beyond us. It's outside of us. We have no part in it. We don't deserve it. Its roots are from outside of us. It through faith, grace flows to us from God our Father. It's not from us. It's from him, and through faith we simply receive that grace. We receive what God is freely offering to us. Ephesians 2:8 says, "For you are saved by grace through faith, and this not from yourselves, it is God's gift." I know we all realize it on paper, but have you sat down and thought through the fact that you were unable to save yourself, that you could not free yourself from the bondage of your sin, and yet God saved you and God freed you. Ephesians tells us that we were once dead in our trespasses and sins, but it's by God's grace that we were given life again, and it's a beautiful thing, grace that has brought us back to life. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in weakness. Therefore, I will most gladly boast all the more about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may reside in me." That's it. That's all we need. Everything that we're searching for in life is found in the grace of God. Everything that we actually need as believers, as people on this planet, is in God's grace. We don't need to play the game anymore. We don't need to act the part. We don't need to go searching. When we put our faith in Christ, we can stop searching for purpose and meaning and satisfaction, and we realize that we found everything that we need in the grace of God, and that grace that has taken us from death to life, from sinners running away from God to children adopted by God. And grace isn't something we talked about yesterday, grace isn't something that we move on from. It's not something that we just saved us from eternal destruction, but grace is something that we need to continue to live by, understanding that it's not by my strength that I'm able to go on, not by my strength that I'm able to continue to live the life that God has called me to live, but God's grace gives me the things that are necessary. It gives me the strength, the motivation, the encouragement, the power that is necessary to do the things that he has called me to do, to be the man that he has called me to be. And so when we repeat grace and peace to one another, we remind ourselves not just of salvation and the grace that we received that brought us from death to life, but the grace that is propelling me through this life as a believer. And so we need to understand that grace not only saved us, but it also should be controlling us and be reminding each other of that truth. God bless.